Open the pod bay doors, Hal.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for those widely praised movies that you honestly might not watch more than once, either due to their length, graphic content, or arguable lack of rewatchability.
I could have got one more person, and I didn't. I didn't.
Number 20, Blue Valentine. Romance movies are inherently rewatchable, but who doesn't love to watch love?
Oh, that's a strange question to ask somebody you haven't seen in forever.
However, if you've seen Blue Valentine, you know this movie is as much about love as it is about destruction and heartache. We do get to enjoy some moments of loving courtship and relationship growth between Michelle Williams and Ryan Gosling. However, we see that while also witnessing their booze and anger-filled future that very quickly wipes the smile off your face.
Why I don't talk to you? No, I'm not gonna hit.
This bleak and unfairy-tale look at love certainly isn't something most of us want to consider as a possibility. So, as good as the film is, why would we watch it again?
You gotta just give me some space.
Number 19, Grave of the Fireflies. Studio Ghibli has produced some of the best animated movies of the last 40 years, and many, like Spirited Away, are so beautifully written and drawn that they almost demand a rewatch. Grave of the Fireflies is also well drawn and the writing is powerful, but the film isn't an easy one to get through.
We're safe here. Don't worry, okay?
Set in 1945, the film follows war orphans Seita and Setsuko as they try to make it through the final months of World War II.
I hate living with her.
But we don't have a house to go back to.
The emotional ride the film takes you on is well worth it and of the utmost quality, but it could be a while before you're ready to take the heartbreaking ride again.
Once you're better, I'll take you to the beach again, Setsuko.
Number 18, Dancer in the Dark. We'll admit that a musical by director Lars von Trier starring Björk as a poor Czech immigrant losing her eyesight in 1964 Washington State might not sound like a film you want to see even once, let alone a second time.
I have no money. All the money that I inherited it's gone.
However, as odd as the premise sounds, and as uncertain of Björk's acting ability as folks might have been, Dancer in the Dark proved to be one of the best films of the 21st century's first decade.
I know everything, Selma. Bill told me. I want you to move out.
It's also one of the darkest, no pun intended, and most heartbreaking, with a finale act that truly wrenches at your gut and doesn't let go, a feeling many might not want to relive.
I just want to hold the little baby.
Number 17, Synecdoche, New York. Philip Seymour Hoffman plays Caden Cattard, a theater director whose obsessions with putting on the most realistic of stage productions see fiction and reality meld together.
The idea is to do a massive theater piece, uncompromising, honest.
Trying to explain Charlie Kaufman's Synecdoche, New York is like trying to explain a brilliantly confusing physics problem. To call the movie polarizing is a major understatement. Few films have divided critics as this film did.
No, that's not true, is it?
The movie topped many Best of the Year lists and made it to the top of Roger Ebert's list of the best films of the 2000s. On the flip side, it also landed on a number of respected Worst of the Year lists, calling it, among other things, incomprehensible. You'll probably have to watch this movie at least twice to understand it. But would you?
My heart aches so much for you.
Number 16, The Boy in the Striped Pajamas. The Holocaust has been depicted in numerous movies, but never quite like in The Boy in the Striped Pajamas. The film tells its story through a young boy, the son of an SS officer, who becomes friends with one of the young prisoners in the camp.
What are you doing? We're building a new hut.
Films about this horrific time in human history are utterly important, but also hard to watch. The Boy in the Striped Pajamas adds a brutal twist at the end, just in case you weren't crying yet.
Let's go and find your dad.
Despite the criticism from scholars about historical inaccuracies, the movie was mostly well received, but it also isn't screaming for a second viewing.
Don't throw it back. What? Why not? It's dangerous.
Number 15, The Irishman. If you've been avoiding watching Martin Scorsese's Killers of the Flower Moon because of its 3-hour and 26-minute runtime, we can tell you that at least it's shorter than The Irishman, albeit only by 3 minutes.
I was just doing a job to make some extra money.
Scorsese is without question one of the greatest directors to ever step behind a camera, and both films are high-quality additions to his amazing body of work. However, given their lengths, they're also both additions to an amazingly sore rear end, and not getting anything else done that night.
This is beautiful.
Both films are must-sees, but freeing up another 3.5 hours to watch either one a second time, that's probably not in the cards for most of us.
Please tell Jimmy we love the guy. We don't want any problem.
Number 14, Manchester by the Sea.
I don't hear from you by 9 o'clock. I'm gonna call the cops. Understand?
Yes.
Some may refuse to watch the film even once, let alone a second time, due to the sexual harassment claims filed against actor Casey Affleck in 2010. #MeToo reasons aside, Manchester by the Sea is a deeply emotional drama with fully formed characters and writing that IndieWire, in 2018, deemed the 5th best screenplay of the 21st century.
I hope everything's okay.
Oh yeah, everything's great.
But it sure isn't an easy movie to watch, and it will, as critic Peter Travers said, take a piece out of you. For most of us, one piece is enough.
Oh. That's alright. Thank you.
Number 13, Hamlet. Those of us whose only experience with Shakespeare is forced readings of his work in high school English classes are probably not super excited about a 4-hour version of Hamlet.
To be or not to be? That is the question.
But when that version is the stunningly beautiful honoring of the bard's words that was Kenneth Branagh's 1996 film, well, we should all be excited to see it once. You didn't mishear us. The film is 4 hours long.
The humorous man shall end his part in peace. The clown shall make those laugh.
It's so long that when the film premiered in theaters back in 1996, there was an intermission. It's without a doubt one of the best film versions of a Shakespeare play ever made. But you'd have to be an uber Shakespeare stan to block off another 4 hours to watch this one twice.
Do not look upon me, lest with this piteous action you convert my stern effects.
Number 12, Sophie's Choice.
Kannst eins von den Kindern behalten.
Whether you've ever seen it or not, you probably know what Sophie's Choice is about, given how it's made its way into our pop culture lexicon, getting referenced on shows like Friends and The Big Bang Theory. While Rachel may think the movie is only okay, we must remember that her favorite movie is Weekend at Bernie's.
I can't watch this. It's like Sophie's Choice. No one ever saw that. Oh, it was only okay.
While the term heart-wrenching is thrown around a lot, there might be no better place to use it than when talking about Sophie's Choice, and the literal choice Sophie must make. As Raj puts it,
boy, Sophie could have used a time machine in that movie. Did you see it? It's rough.
Number 11, Lincoln.
What I carry within me, you must allow me to do it. Alone, as I must.
It feels odd seeing a Steven Spielberg film on this list, given how the great director has made some of the most rewatchable movies of the last 50 years. Who hasn't watched E.T. and Jurassic Park multiple times? How many of us can quote Catch Me If You Can because we've gone back to it again and again? And yet, while Lincoln is thorough, well-filmed, and features a truly amazing performance from Daniel Day-Lewis, it could possibly be deemed, by some, as a little slow.
It is a self-evident truth that things which are equal to the same thing are equal to each other.
We're not saying it's dull, but we could see the pacing, accompanied by the 2.5-hour runtime, keeping this one off your rewatchable list.
If I get over it, I will have revenge.
Number 10, Boyhood. With a score of 100, Boyhood is the best reviewed film of the 21st century on Metacritic, a 12-year epic that took 12 years to complete, as the story and the actors aged, grew, and evolved throughout the phenomenal feat.
Baker! Hey!
Well, the movie thankfully isn't 12 years long. It does run for a good 2.5 hours, and if we're being honest, not much actually happens.
It's like everyone's just stuck in like an in-between state.
Well, life happens, of course, but the true brilliance of this experiment in filmmaking is the characters, not the plot. For many, the lack of action could mean spacing out a second viewing until 12 years later would be the way to go.
It's constant. The moments, it's like it's always right now, you know?
Number 9, Apocalypse Now. Francis Ford Coppola's cinematic interpretation of Heart of Darkness, set against the backdrop of the Vietnam War, is not only one of the greatest war movies ever made, it's one of the best films of all time.
Smells like victory.
However, while there are several intense moments and action sequences, much of the film's 2+ hour runtime is also replete with actionless conversations and slow meditations on war and life.
Every man has got a breaking point. You and I have them.
If you're looking for a shoot-'em-up style war movie, then revisiting this lengthy Palme d'Or winner probably won't fit the bill.
You either love somebody or you hate them.
Number 8, Citizen Kane. Okay, so we all know about Citizen Kane and how it's considered by many critics and historians as the greatest movie ever made. It features a brilliant script, great acting, and techniques that, while commonplace today, were revolutionary in 1941. The influence of Orson Welles' film cannot be overstated. With all that in mind, you have to see this film once. After that, you can talk about it and understand all the references to it in film and pop culture. But you gonna watch it again?
I'd make my promises now if I weren't too busy arranging to keep them.
Given some of the slow conversations and drawn-out flashback sequences, for most people, the answer is no. Also, once you know the mystery of what Rosebud is, a second viewing will never be as fresh.
Did you ever find out what it means? No, I didn't.
Number 7. Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi was an incredibly important political and historical figure, and more than deserving of a biopic.
I am asking you to fight. To fight against their anger, not to provoke it.
In 1982, he got a really good one, and one that earned itself 11 Oscar nominations, winning 8 of them, including Best Picture, Actor, Director, and Original Screenplay. However, with that being said, the film is also over 3 hours long and moves at a somewhat less than quick pace.
After what they did at the massacre, it's only an eye for an eye.
An eye for an eye only ends up making the whole world blind.
We wholly support Gandhi's belief in change through nonviolence, but a little more action might have made those 3 hours feel less like, well, 3 hours.
The only devils in the world are those running around in our own hearts.
Number 6. Gone with the Wind.
Has the war started?
Sir, you should have made your presence known.
Yeah, we get it. Gone with the Wind is a great movie and, when adjusted for inflation, is still the highest grossing movie of all time. But it is also really long, clocking in at 3 hours and 40 minutes. And that's without the overture and entr'acte.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
It also pushes an inaccurate and more positive-facing view of the South in that time, along with racist tropes that make it a little, shall we say, uncomfortable to watch these days. Frankly, my dears, we don't give a damn if we never watch Gone with the Wind again.
After all, tomorrow is another day.
Number 5. Lawrence of Arabia. David Lean's 1962 epic tells the tale of T.E. Lawrence, a British lieutenant fighting in the Ottoman provinces during World War II, who finds himself torn between his native land and the desert tribes he befriends and fights alongside.
This is my well.
I have drunk from it.
You are welcome.
Lawrence of Arabia is Steven Spielberg's favorite movie of all time, and one that he saw 4 times over the first 4 weeks of its release back in 1962.
What is it, Major Lawrence, that attracts you personally to the desert?
It's clean.
However, while we no doubt respect Spielberg's opinion on the quality of the film, at just under 4 hours long, we'll watch it once and take his word on it for the other 3 times.
No prisoners! No prisoners!
Number 4. Requiem for a Dream.
Anything else? Nah. Nothing. I'm right.
Many films about drugs provide a positive resolution to the despair that substance use disorder causes, often giving the characters an uplifting final act to leave the audience on a high note, no pun intended. Well, Darren Aronofsky didn't get the memo. His brilliant and hypnotic Requiem for a Dream is a visually stunning and brilliantly crafted descent that begins in despair and pushes on down the path to more despair. It's a film that few who see it will ever forget, and because of that, may not feel the need to see those things again.
I love you, Harry. I love you too, Mom.
Number 3. 12 Years a Slave. In 1841, Solomon Northup was a free black man in the northern United States when he was conned, drugged, and transported to the South as a slave.
Well, I don't want to survive. I want to live.
Northup spends the next 12 years as a slave, getting bought and sold, beaten, and almost killed until finally getting his freedom and his family back. It's a true and harrowing account of injustice in a time and place where injustice was the norm for certain groups of people.
If I can't buy mercy from you, I'll beg it.
The film doesn't pull its punches, and in doing so, forces the audience to confront some despicable truths about humanity, truths that once seen might not want to be revisited, at least for a while.
It would be an unspeakable happiness to see my wife.
Number 2. 2001: A Space Odyssey. It's brilliant, beautiful, allegorical, and one of the true cinematic masterpieces of the 20th century. Although to some, especially in an age of social media and short videos that provide instant gratification, 2001: A Space Odyssey might seem a little boring.
Look, Dave. I can see you're really upset about this.
Director Stanley Kubrick called the film basically a visual, nonverbal experience, and he isn't wrong.
Sorry about this. I know it's a bit silly.
There's pretty much no words spoken for the first 20 and the final 20 minutes of the film, as well as a 10-minute stretch in the middle. Unfortunately, this might not be something many people are willing to sit through a second time.
I'm afraid I agree with you.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. Schindler's List.
There was always something missing. In every business I tried, I can see now it wasn't me that failed.
Schindler's List is the film that finally got Steven Spielberg his first ever Academy Award for Best Director. It also took home a very well-deserved Best Picture Oscar, and is often part of conversations about the greatest films of all time.
I think you are drunk.
That's power, Ammon. That is power.
While the 3+ hour runtime might be a hindrance to the movie's rewatchability, the biggest reason you'll probably not go back to this one anytime soon is the subject matter. Being about the Holocaust, the film is a hard reminder of the worst humanity can do to each other, something we should all see and should never forget, but also not a memory we're always ready for.
I could have got more. I don't know if I just...
What film do you love that you just can't bring yourself to watch again, yet? Let us know in the comments.
I'm unaware of any such activity.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.